Welcome to the Harris County Flood Control District's virtual community engagement meeting to discuss the Meyergrove Stormwater Detention Basin Project. This virtual community meeting is being offered by the Flood Control District to share vital information with the community and to gather your input on flood risk reduction efforts in your area. Community engagement is a critical component of our work, and we appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us this evening. My name is Robert Fricke with the Flood Control District Communications team. I am joined tonight by a team of Flood Control District leadership and subject matter experts to ensure we continue to keep you up to date on important flood mitigation efforts. We are glad to see the community engage with this project and look forward to gathering your feedback tonight. Moving forward, we will continue to share updates on this and other projects in your area to keep you involved and informed. First, we would like to begin tonight's meeting with remarks from Harris County Precinct 1 Commissioner Rodney Ellis.
I'm Rodney Ellis. On behalf of Harris County Precinct 1 and the Flood Control District, welcome to this informative meeting about significant flood control projects in your area. As always, we have you in mind when we design projects to mitigate flooding to protect your homes and businesses. We want to be transparent with all projects because we cannot do it without your participation. Every community, regardless of the zip code, deserves increased protection from flooding. That's why equity is our guiding principle in assigning our infrastructure investments. In addition, we're prioritizing communities that are most vulnerable to flooding and have historically taken the longest to recover. Let me thank flood control officials for developing this and other projects across Harris County. Most importantly, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to participate in this community meeting tonight. We know you could have been somewhere else doing something else, but we're glad you're here. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Ellis. We appreciate you sharing remarks. This virtual public meeting will begin with a presentation to share project updates, including an overview of the Meyergrove Stormwater Detention Basin project, timeline, and next steps. The presentation will be followed by a virtual question and answer session with Flood Control District team members, where we'll respond to your questions and comment on some of the frequently asked questions we receive from the public. Attendees will be able to submit comments and questions through the website or by phone. Any comments not addressed during the Q&A session will receive a response from the Flood Control District after the close of the comment period. Instructions on how to participate in the virtual meeting are included on this slide, on this virtual meeting webpage, and on the Flood Control District's website. I will also share a reminder of these instructions when we reach the Q&A portion of the meeting. We will now transition to Melissa Meyer, Engineering Division Manager with the Flood Control District, who will share information about the Flood Control District and this project. Melissa, over to you.
Thank you, Robert. And a special thanks to each of you for joining us here tonight. In this presentation, we'll give a brief overview of the project, but before we get into project specifics, we want to share a bit of background information about the Flood Control District. The Harris County Flood Control District is a special purpose district created by the Texas legislature in 1937 in response to devastating floods that hit the Houston area in 1929 and 1935. The Flood Control District is governed by the Harris County Commissioners Court and works closely with other entities in our region, such as Harris County Engineering Department and the City of Houston. The organization was created in part to serve as a local partner to leverage federal funding for flood damage reduction projects. But our mission has expanded since our founding, leading to billions of dollars in federal, state, and locally funded infrastructure improvements in the ground. The mission of the Harris County Flood Control District is to provide flood damage reduction projects that work with appropriate regard for community and natural values. One of the most difficult challenges we face is constructing effective projects that are sensitive to community and natural values in highly urbanized areas. So Harris County has 23 main watersheds, totaling approximately 1,800 square miles and more than 2,500 linear miles of channel. 2,500 linear miles of channel is approximately the distance from New York to California. A watershed is a geographical region of land that drains to a common channel or outlet, and each watershed has its own characteristics and needs. The project we're presenting on tonight is in the Brays Bayou watershed, located in southwest Harris County. Harris County and our surrounding area is flood prone for a number of reasons. Namely, we experience extreme rainfall events, including tropical storms and hurricanes. Our area is largely made up of flat, slow draining land. And finally, we see large concentrations of clay soils that do not soak up excess rainfall quickly. So while the Flood Control District plays a critical role in flood risk reduction, we are one of several entities involved in these efforts in our region. So when rain falls on your roof, it flows through several jurisdictions, such as streets and drains managed by the Harris County Engineering Department, a municipal utility district, or a city, such as the city of Houston, before it flows into a larger channel, creek, or bayou that the Flood Control District owns and maintains. This slide here illustrates the various jurisdictions, which sometimes we even share with other entities. Inside the neighborhoods, as shown on the left side of this illustration, storm sewers and roadside ditches collect stormwater runoff and start the process of moving it away from homes and streets. Storm sewers and roadside ditches are the responsibility of the underlying municipality. The larger bayous and channels that take the collected stormwater and move it through our drainage system to Galveston Bay are the responsibility of the Flood Control District, and this is shown on the right side of the illustration. In the middle is a storm water detention basin, sometimes constructed by the Flood Control District. When storm sewers on the left are increased, this creates an increase in runoff. Since it is our policy to avoid any adverse impacts from our projects, detention basins help to safely take in and temporarily store excess stormwater during heavy rain events. Often we partner with Harris County precincts, utility districts, and others to add recreational amenities such as trails to these basins and along our channel. On August 25th, 2018, Harris County voters approved a $2.5 billion in bonds for a flood risk reduction projects. This vote followed a series of 23 meetings with community members across Harris County, one per watershed, and resulted in a list of what is now 181 bond projects. 38 of those projects were added directly as a result of community input. The actual timing of each individual project will depend on a variety of factors, including environmental permitting, right-of-way acquisition and utility relocation, and in some cases, the requirements of a particular grant. Project lists and projected schedules are updated regularly on our website. As bond projects move forward, we're making significant progress towards resilience in Harris County. We shared an update with Harris County Commissioners Court in January of this year and highlighted a few notable stats. We have completed or closed out 27 projects. We have secured $1.43 billion in partnership funding to stretch the bond funds even further for our community. And we've hosted more than 180 community engagement meetings. Your input is critical to our efforts, and we want to ensure that our conversations continue. We'll continue these biannual updates moving forward to share progress on the program. So while the bond was for $2.5 billion, the full cost of every single project in the bond tables is almost $5 billion. So we've made it clear from the outset that we would need funding partners to fully construct the projects in the bond program. As I've mentioned, we've had some success so far, having secured more than $1.43 billion in partnership funds for projects across Harris County. This graphic illustrates the many sources of those partnerships, including federal, state, and local funding that the Flood Control District is working to secure for Harris County. Each agency has its own definition of eligible projects and its own requirements for local match funding, so the Flood Control District works diligently to match projects to the right partnership opportunities. We'll now move into the part of the program that is specifically about the Brays Bayou watershed and the Meyergrove Stormwater Detention Basin project. As a reminder, we're looking for your input as we discuss this project in more detail. Please feel free to drop any questions or comments into the comment box or to comment by phone by pushing the star key. So here we have a map of the entire Brays Bayou watershed. And as I mentioned earlier, a watershed is defined as all areas that contribute drainage to the main channel, which in this case is Brays Bayou. This urbanized watershed covers about 127 square miles and 121 miles of open streams, including the primary streams and tributary channels of Keegan's Bayou and Willow Water Hole Bayou. The bayou flows eastward from Fort Bend County to its confluence with the Houston Ship Channel. Comprehensive planning for flood protection in the watershed and construction of flood damage reduction projects on and along Brays Bayou has occurred in the past and continues today. Severe flooding in the watershed has occurred on an average at least once every decade. The Harris County Flood Control District partnered with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers on a major flood damage reduction project called Project Brays. Project Brays was a multi-year $480 million project that substantially reduces the risk associated with flooding to tens of thousands of residents and also the many businesses and institutions in the Brays Bayou watershed. Now let's talk about the Meyergrove Stormwater Detention Basin project specifically. So this slide shows you the location of this project. This project site is located in the Meyergrove area where Interstate 610 crosses Brays Bayou. The project actually consists of two basins which will provide flood relief in the area. The sites are located along Braeswood Boulevard between 610 and Linkwood Drive. In 2022, $9.9 million in community-funded project support was secured by Congresswoman Lizzie Fletcher. The anticipated construction cost for this project is $5.5 million. Now I'd like to share some information about stormwater detention basins and how they work. A stormwater detention basin provides temporary storage for excess stormwater during heavy rain events. When the stormwater levels within the channel recede, the stored stormwater in the detention basin drains back into the channel by gravity via outfall pipes appropriately sized to drain the basin safely. So let's take a look at the project sites. The Stormwater Detention Basin project initially consisted of one basin site near the intersection of 610 and North Braeswood. However, as funding and additional land became available, the Flood Control District added a second basin to the project further downstream to maximize the flood damage reduction benefits this project can bring to the area. The Harris County Flood Control District formally identifies the larger of the two basins as D500-11-00. And the smaller basin is formally identified as D500-12-00. However, both basins together compose the D500-11-E001 project. Both basins will function in a similar manner to temporarily store stormwater from storm sewers in the area before releasing that water into Brays Bayou once the bayou recedes to the point at which it has available capacity. The Flood Control District is a no adverse impact agency, and that means we can't create improvements in one area which will transfer flood risk or increased flood risk in another area. Because we can't discharge stormwater directly from storm sewers in the area into Brays Bayou without creating an adverse impact, these basins will temporarily hold that stormwater until the bayou can safely receive the additional water without creating an adverse impact downstream. So let's take a closer look at D500-11, the larger of the two basins. As I stated, storm sewers in the area will drain into the basin where the water would temporarily be stored. When water levels in Brays Bayou recede, the stormwater in the basin will discharge into the bayou via outfall pipes. The basin will also support overflow from Brays Bayou via a concrete weir, which will be constructed between the basin and the bayou. If the water levels in the bayou rise, water from the bayou will enter the basin via the weir before going out of banks. As with the excess water from the area's storm sewers, the water in the basin will drain back into Brays Bayou. This basin is designed to be what is called a wet bottom basin. A wet bottom basin design features just that, a permanent pool of water at the bottom of the basin surrounded by vegetation. The area above the wet bottom, up to the top of the basin banks, is what's available for additional stormwater storage. Wet bottom basins often have the appearance of a small lake with potential wetland plantings on the fringes of the basin and create a park-like setting. In partnership with Harris County Precinct 1 and with federal funding, a new trail will be constructed to surround the basin and park-like amenities will be added. The existing trail along Brays Bayou here will be impacted during construction, but will be reconstructed and reconnected to the new trail. Part of the existing 4-foot sidewalk along Braeswood Boulevard at the intersection with the Brays Bayou Trail will also be expanded into a 10-foot hike and bike trail. Now let's take a look at D500-12, the smaller of the two basins. This basin will be located in the median between North and South Braeswood and be constructed as a dry bottom basin. Unlike its wet bottom counterpart, this basin will be designed to drain between rain events. The bottom of the basin will feature a grassy lining. Stormwater from the storm sewers in the area will flow into the basin where it will drain into Brays Bayou. When we talk about stormwater detention basins, we talk about how much stormwater they can hold in a unit of measurement called the acre foot. That measurement refers to the volume of water 1 foot deep over 1 acre. For context, 1 acre foot equals approximately 325,851 gallons of stormwater. Think of 1 football field covered exactly with 1 foot of water. So the larger of the two Meyergrove stormwater detention basins, D500-11, will hold 84 acre feet of stormwater, and the smaller basin, D500-12, will hold 10 acre feet of stormwater. Together, they will provide 94 acre feet of stormwater storage, and that's equivalent to more than 30.6 million gallons of stormwater. The visual on this slide shows the typical project life cycle of a flood risk reduction project. And while every flood risk reduction project is unique, they all have a common life cycle. And each project begins and ends with predictable milestones along the way. This project is in the pre-construction stage of its project's life cycle, as indicated by the arrow on the screen. The construction contract for this project is expected to be awarded this fall, with construction expected to begin shortly after its award in winter of 2023 or 2024. Once construction begins, we anticipate about 9 months of construction for both of the basins. During construction, we do not anticipate any detours, but there is a potential for a closure of 1 lane of North Braeswood during construction of the larger basin. We do anticipate some closures of the existing trail along Brays Bayou and the sidewalk along Braeswood during construction of the larger basin. Trail users may be detoured to the sidewalk on the northern side of Braeswood Boulevard for a limited time. We do not anticipate any impacts to the trail along Brays Bayou near the site of the smaller D500-12 basin. Construction hours generally run from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, and some night or weekend work might be possible. As more is known about the construction timing and construction impacts, we will update the webpage for this project on our website at hcfcd.org/Meyergrove. I'll now turn the program back over to Robert to kick off the Q&A.
Thanks, Melissa. Before we move into the Q&A, I want to share a quick reminder that we're looking for your input. We'd love to hear from you on this and other projects moving forward across Harris County. Your input is critical as we continue to develop project plans for this and other flood risk reduction efforts. All comments and questions received this evening will be considered as we develop plans for this effort. The conversation doesn't end here. To learn more about this project, ask questions, and sign up for our mailing list, please visit www.hcfcd.org/Meyergrove. As a reminder, there are 3 ways to submit a comment about this project during tonight's session. Submit a comment on this site in the box near the presentation live stream. Submit a comment on the Flood Control District's website at www.hcfcd.org/Meyergrove, or submit a comment via phone at 855-925-2801, utilizing meeting code 5840. If you are joining us via phone tonight, please press star to leave a message. Additionally, I want to reiterate that any questions not addressed during tonight's Q&A will receive a response from the Flood Control District following the close of the comment period. Information from this meeting and a recording of the live stream will be available on the Flood Control District's website and YouTube channel. Joining Melissa for our Q&A session tonight is Emmanuel Almeida and Rusty Lannon. Now it's time to take some of your questions. All right, and the first question of the evening is for Emmanuel. Emmanuel, how was this project identified?
Hello, thank you. Thank you so much for that question, Robert. Now, this project was a bit of a unique opportunity for us. When the land at this location, that's the D500-11 location, became available, the Flood Control District saw the opportunity to create stormwater detention in this area. The opportunity reflected input we had received from the community as well. With some available funding in the 2018 bond program, and together with some partnership funding, we were able to move this project forward.
All right, thanks, Emmanuel. Our next question is for Rusty. Rusty, can you tell me more about why the project was recommended?
Rusty, I think you're on mute.
Oh, sorry about that. The project was recommended because the right-of-way became available and we were able to purchase it. And following that, we did some detailed engineering and hydraulics and found it useful for the most part. It's really useful in smaller events where we get 6 inches of rain, 7 inches of rain in 5 or 6 hours. That thing's going to fill up and it's going to hold water back, and that will help everyone in the area. And we also had the median basin, and that was an option to we can dig it here too, and just adding some volume to basically help the streets stay more clear from flooding situations.
All right, thanks, Rusty. Our next question is for Melissa. Melissa, what is the goal of the Meyergrove project?
Yeah, the goal of this project is to reduce the impact of flooding in the lower portions of the Brays Bayou watershed by constructing a stormwater detention basin project in the Meyergrove area, right where 610 crosses Brays Bayou. Again, this project consists of 2 different basins, which will temporarily store stormwater during heavy rain events until we can release those waters into Brays Bayou.
All right, Melissa, thank you so much. And we do have a question that just came in from a Mr. Jim Robertson. Rusty, this question is for you. Can you please share the approximate cost per acre foot of detention provided, including land acquisition, engineering, excavation, etc., of the projects discussed?
I don't have an exact number for you, but it is in the ballpark of about $200,000 an acre foot, mainly because the right-of-way was very expensive, and that part really drove up the cost of the acre foot price.
All right, thanks, Rusty. Our next question is for Emmanuel. Emmanuel, what is the exact area for this project?
Thank you so much, Robert. So the Meyergrove Stormwater Detention Basin project is located within Harris County Precinct 1 and along Braeswood Boulevard between Loop 610 and Stella Link Road. The larger basin will be located on a 7.7 acre tract at the intersection of Loop 610 and Braeswood Boulevard, and the smaller basin will be located on a 3 acre tract in the median between north and south of Braeswood.
All right, thanks, Emmanuel. Our next question is for Rusty. Rusty, how is this project being funded and how much will it cost to construct?
This project is being funded by a grant from the federal government. This is Lizzie Fletcher. She was able to secure money for this, and so that's where the funding is coming from. And I think it's like 7.5 million. Like I'm blanking on the cost of construction, the engineering estimate, but I think it's 7.5 million.
All right, thanks, Rusty. Our next question is for Melissa. Melissa, how long will it take to construct this project, and when is it expected to start?
So we anticipate construction for this starting in winter of 2023 or early 2024, and it should take about 9 months to construct both of the basins.
All right. Thank you, Melissa. Our next question is for Emmanuel. Emmanuel, what areas will be impacted during construction?
Thank you so much, Robert. Now, for the we do not anticipate any detours or roadway closures during construction. However, there's potential for closure of one lane of North Braeswood Boulevard during construction of the larger basin. Now, whenever a lane closure is needed, a flagger will be on site to direct traffic.
All right, thanks, Emmanuel. This next question that just came in is also for you, Emmanuel. Jackie asks, it looks like the smaller retention pond is located where this is currently, looks like retention pond is, let me start again, sorry. It looks like the smaller retention pond is currently located where there is currently planted several trees in a wildflower meadow. Are these to be moved or simply removed?
Thank you for that question. And now for the smaller basin, yes, you're right. There are several trees and vegetation in that basin, and we shall evaluate all the vegetation in there, but on the most part, we'll be looking to, remove the entire set of vegetation in that area. We'll be looking to, removing it all to create, the dry bottom basin.
All right, thanks, Emmanuel. And just one more question for you, Emmanuel. Sorry, but just one more. Bill has also asked, currently the smaller basin has trees and crepe myrtles. Will they be replaced so it is not an open field?
Now, the plan is to remove the plants and vegetation that are in that area, and we shall, look deeper. We shall evaluate any possibilities of adding anything there. But for now, the plan is to remove the trees and the trees that are in that area. In the future, there's a possibility of either the city or the district, having trees on the channel slopes. But for this project, we will just be removing everything.
Thanks, Manuel. Thank you so much. Our next question is for Melissa. Melissa, Olga Morgan asks, would you once again describe the location of the smaller basin?
Sure. Robert, would you mind going back to slide 19 for this one? Picture is always worth 1,000 words. So this basin will be located in the median between North and South Braeswood, and it'll be constructed as a dry bottom basin.
All right, thanks, Melissa. We do have one more question for you. Lucy asks, what are the vegetation plans? Will they be similar to Willow Waterhole on a smaller scale? And will you be incorporating native prairie grasses and wildflowers?
Yeah, so right now we don't have any plans for native prairie grasses in this area. We will be vegetating the project once it's complete to make sure we get turf established so we don't have future erosion problems. Wildflowers, I will get back to you on that. I know we do wildflower plantings in some areas, but I'm just not sure about these two areas specifically.
All right, thanks, Melissa. This next question is for Rusty. Rusty Ed Klein asks, how will this construction coexist with the current construction work at 610 over Ray's Bayou?
They'll probably still be doing that bridge when we start. They could be finished. I'm not sure what their schedule is for that. So there could be some like similar construction going on at the same time. Except, I mean, they're doing a bridge and we're digging a hole, so we won't be closing off traffic. Maybe a lane or two on an occasion, but not on a continual basis.
Okay, thanks, Rusty. Our next question is also for you, Rusty, by the way. Why did the flood control district add a second basin when the project scope initially consisted of one?
Because we had more money. That was the funds that were available were enough to construct a second basin. So that's how it happened. The grant that came from the federal government was more than it was going to cost to dig out Meyergrove. So we stretched the dollars as far as we could to provide as much capacity in the system.
Yeah, and I just want to tag on to that is that we're working with the city of Houston for to use that land to dig out that second smaller basin. And again, yeah, we did that because the amount of money that we had from the congressional delegation was able to cover both basins. All
right, thanks, guys. I just want to reiterate to everyone that there are, to everyone listening, that there are 3 ways to submit a comment about this project during tonight's session. You can submit a comment on this site in the box near the presentation live stream. You can submit a comment on the Flood Control District's website at www.hcfcd.org/Meyergrove. Or you can submit a comment via phone at 855-925-2801, utilizing meeting code 5840. And if you're joining us via phone tonight, please press star and you can leave a message. And just to say one more time, I did say this at the top of the Q&A, but I just want to reiterate that any questions not addressed during tonight's Q&A will receive a response from the Flood Control District following the close of the comment period. And information from this meeting, as well as a recording of the live stream, will be available on the Flood Control District's website and YouTube channel. All right, and so now back to our FAQs. Our next question is for Emmanuel. Emmanuel, how much stormwater will this basin hold?
You're muted, Emmanuel.
All right, thank you for that. Yeah, so we do expect the larger basin to provide about 84 acre-feet of stormwater storage, and the smaller basin to provide 10 acre-feet. And together, they should provide 94 acre-feet of stormwater storage. Now, just for context, 1 acre-foot is approximately 325,851 gallons. And 1 football field covered in 1 foot of water is approximately 1 acre-foot. So you can think of the combined basins as holding the equivalent of 94 football fields of water or more than 30 million gallons.
All right, thanks, Emmanuel. Our next question is for Melissa. Melissa Stewart asks, why not put a pipe in the bayou and pump water downstream?
That's a good question that we actually get quite a bit. Harris County Flood Control District doesn't like to use a lot of pumps just because of the maintenance involved with that. We do use pipes. There are pipes that are connected from the bayou to the basins, and they just flow by gravity. So once the water recedes in Bray's Bayou, the water does flow down that pipe, and then continues downstream via gravity.
Okay, thanks, Melissa. And also, this next question just is also for you. What is the difference between the two basin types, and which is better, a wet bottom or a dry bottom basin?
Sure. So a dry bottom basin is designed to drain dry and remain dry between rain events rather than maintaining a permanent pool of water. But a wet bottom basin, the storage area is the area above the permanent pool to the top of the banks. Wet bottom basins have additional environmental benefits. They can provide habitats to fish and wildlife. They improve stormwater quality. Both types of stormwater detention basins function to reduce flooding risks. The reduction for wet or dry depends on numerous factors, including the specific site location. In this case, due to its size, the smaller basin was designed as a dry bottom basin to maximize the storage capacity that it can provide.
All right, thanks, Melissa. Our next question is for Emmanuel. Emmanuel, how long will the existing trail along Brays Bayou be closed?
All right. So for the trail along Brays Bayou will experience some closures, and what will happen is we expect to have a detour to the northern side of Braeswood Boulevard for a limited time, and that's while the weir structure is being constructed. Constructed.
All right, thanks, Emmanuel. And this next question is also for you. Emmanuel, who is funding and maintaining the new trail?
Yeah, the new trail will be constructed in partnership with the Harris County Precinct 1, and this is through federal funding that it received, and this construction will surround the larger basin. Now, funding also includes the addition of park-like amenities, and the Precinct 1 will also provide maintenance after completion of the project.
All right, thanks, Emmanuel. And also, and so we do have some other points coming in. We do see that one of tonight's attendees provided local references to help everyone better identify the location of the smaller basin. It will be between the railroad tracks and Three Brothers Bakery in that area. Our next question is for Melissa. Melissa, how does this fit into the overall 2018 bond program?
Yeah, so this is one of the flood control district's mission is to provide flood damage reduction projects that work. And this project was one of the many projects that were funded and sponsored by that 2018 bond program to reduce flooding risks to Harris County homes and communities.
All right, thanks, Melissa. And also, we want to go ahead and let the people who have submitted some of the questions this evening know. Lene and Susan, we will follow up with you regarding your respective questions after the meeting. Thank you. Our next question is for Rusty. Rusty, will this project eliminate flooding in this area?
No. During the 100-year event, the water is still out of banks. This area is one of the deepest places in the floodplain of Brays Bayou, and it'll help in the smaller events. The completion of Project Brays helped a lot. There actually hasn't been any out of bank flooding in Brays Bayou since Tropical Storm Beta, which was a year or so after Harvey. So the water's gotten right up to the edge, but it hasn't gone out of banks. And now Project Brays is complete, and Everything is online, the bridges, the detention basins, the weir structures, everything is functioning as it was expected to. And it's reducing the risk, but there is still an out-of-date floodplain.
All right, thanks, Rusty. Our next question is for Emmanuel. Emmanuel, where can residents find updates on this project and construction information as well?
All right, so updates on this project will be posted to the project webpage, which is hcfcd.org/Meyergrove, which is Meyergrove.
All right, thanks, Emmanuel. Our next question is for Rusty. Rusty, if you are improving flooding in this area, are you just flooding another area as a result?
Harris County Flood Control District is a no adverse impact agency where any projects we do are required to do hydraulics, and a engineer is signing and sealing a document stating that this project has no adverse impact, up to including the 100-year event. And we also used the Atlas 14 flows on this project to see if there was any effect, and there was not.
All right, thanks, Rusty. Our next question is for Melissa. Melissa, is this the first time the community is hearing about this project?
No, it is not. We had this project that was part of the bond list from way back in 2018. So we've had some communication about this project, but this is the first time we've talked specifically about construction and when it'll be starting.
Thanks, Melissa. Our next question is for Emmanuel. Emmanuel, Phillips asks if there will be additional trails or trees around the smaller basin, as he lives across the street in a retirement community.
Thanks for that question. It's a great one. Now, for the smaller basin, we do not plan to have trees around it. However, in the future, we may have trees either through the flood control district or city of Houston. They may have trees, planted on the slopes. And then regarding the trails, we do not intend to have trails around the smaller basin. However, we do have the Braised Bayou, a trail, just across from the street or from the median.
All right, thanks, Emmanuel. Our next question is for you, Emmanuel. How will the existing trail along Braised Bayou be impacted?
Okay, thank you. The existing trail along Braised Bayou near the larger basin will be impacted during construction, but it will be reconstructed and connected to the new trail that will be, around the larger basin. So part of the existing 4-foot sidewalk along Braeswood Boulevard at the intersection with the Braised Bayou Trail will also be expanded into a 10-foot hike and bike trail. Now, we do not anticipate any impacts to the trail along Braeswood, along Braised Bayou near the site of the smaller basin.
All right, thanks, Emmanuel. Our next question is for Melissa. Melissa, Jack asks, will the new weir be at the same level of the existing weir on the current detention basin that already is in place?
I will have to double check, Jack. It makes sense that they would be very close, but without having both set of plans in front of me, I don't want to give you the wrong information, but I'll follow back up with you on that one.
Robert, you're muted. Sorry about that. This next question is also for Melissa or Rusty, if either of you want to chime in. Charles says hello to you both, and he is asking if it would be fair to say the basins will provide relief for those downstream and inside the loop, and little for those areas upstream and outside the loop, like Meyerland.
I mean, the whole area is, the bottom of the floodplain there. So I think any detention to hold back water helps everywhere. And this really is, just across 610 from Meyerland. So I mean, it helps. It's not in Meyerland, but it's near enough to where the flows can go in there and be held.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Rusty. And also, Melissa, if we have a minute right now, could we go back over the project schedule again real quick? Just
Yeah,
for everybody who's just now tuning in.
Sure. So this project, it's currently advertising right now. We expect to award this project this fall, with construction starting either this winter, late this year, more than likely early next year. As we get closer to the actual construction start dates, we will be reaching out to you and make sure that our website's updated with project specifics. And construction should take about 9 months to complete both of the basins.
All right. Thanks, Melissa. Our next question is for Rusty. Rusty, how does this detention basin relate to detention required for new developments in Harris County?
Well, I mean, the new detention for Harris County requires 0.55 acre feet per acre of detention, and they're offsetting their impervious cover and their development, and they're building into floodplain. I mean, we're not building anything, we're just adding the detention. So it's being put in place to just provide detention, and that's it. It could potentially be used for something like a stormwater project, increased outflows or something, which would all have to be modeled to make sure that it works. But it's basically just detention, not a requirement to have anything.
All right, thanks, Rusty. And I do just want to reiterate, I know I've said this earlier in the Q&A, but there are multiple ways for everyone to submit a comment about this project during tonight's session. You can submit a comment on this site near the presentation live stream. You can submit a comment on the Flood Control District's website at www.hcfcd.org/Meyergrove. Or you can submit a comment via phone at 855-925-2801, utilizing meeting code 5840. And also, if you are joining us via phone tonight, just press star to leave a message. Also, and like I said before, any questions that we don't get to tonight that we don't address during tonight's Q&A, they will receive a response from the Flood Control District following the close of the comment period. Our next question is for Melissa. Melissa, how can I learn more about other projects going on in the Brays Bayou watershed?
If you just go to our website at hcfcd.org, you can select Brays Bayou from the watershed list on the home page. And from the Brays Bayou watershed page, you'll see a list of projects on the left-hand side of the page. And then at the bottom of that list, there's also an option to sign up for updates about the Brays Bayou watershed. Updates about this project specifically will be on the project website at hcfcd.org/Meyergrove.
All right, thanks, Melissa. Our next question is for Emmanuel. Emmanuel, can you address the construction impacts of this project?
All right, so I know we mentioned earlier about possibly closing one of the lanes along North Braeswood Boulevard. Now, if we do that, we will ensure that we have a flagger right adjacent to the street to ensure, that there's control of traffic, especially as the trucks can go in and out. And then also regarding the trail, we have a detour plan for the Braes Bayou trail. So we will ensure that during construction we have that detour signage to ensure that that users of the trail know which routes to take. So those are the key mechanisms we have in place to manage the construction impacts. And of course, we shall also ensure that communication is provided on the website about what's going on with the project.
Thanks, Emmanuel. Our next question is for Rusty. Rusty, what are the benefits of this project?
The hydraulic model shows a decrease in the 100-year water surface elevation. It ranges between 0.01 feet to about 0.05 feet, and it dissipates a little bit downstream of Stelllink.
All right, thanks, Rusty. Our next question is for Emmanuel. Emmanuel, can residents expect construction for this project to occur on weekends?
Yes, we can expect construction to occur over some of the weekends, and yes, the answer is yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. Melissa, could we go over the project overview one more time for everybody who is just joining us?
Sure. Do you mind going to slide 15, I believe? You there? All right. So this slide shows the location of the project. The project site is located in the Meyergrove area where Interstate 610 crosses Braes Bayou. This project actually consists of two basins, which will provide flood relief in the area. The sites are located along Braeswood Boulevard between 610 and Linkwood Drive. In 2022, $9.9 million in community-funded project support was secured by Congresswoman Lizzie Fletcher, which is funding this project.
All right, thanks, Melissa. So we do have one more question, Rusty. If we could, this question goes to you. Where can I go to ask questions after this meeting is over?
You can call us, you can email us, you can go to our website and ask a question there. Yeah, we're available.
Thanks, Rusty. And everybody, just to remind everyone who is currently watching us, you can submit questions in 3 different ways during tonight's session. You can submit a comment on this site in the box near the presentation live stream. You can submit a comment on the Flood Control District's website at www.hcfcd.org/Meyergrove. You can also submit a comment via phone at 855-925-2801, utilizing meeting code 5840. And also, if you're joining us via cell phone tonight, you can press star to leave a message. I want to reiterate that any questions not addressed during tonight's Q&A will receive a response from the Flood Control District following the close of the comment period. Information from this meeting and a recording of the live stream will be available on the Flood Control District's website and YouTube channel. And I believe we have another one. Let's see. Just one moment, everybody. Sorry about that. Emmanuel, where can everybody who's watching right now find updates about this project and find additional construction information?
All right, so the district does provide updates on their website, which is hcfcd.org/Meyergrove, which is Meyergrove. So simply go to our website, and it's updated all the time through the project timeline.
All right. Thanks, Emmanuel. Our next question is also for you, Emmanuel. Philip asks, will the project repair the curbing around the smaller side when they are done?
Yes, so any curbing that is damaged during repair will be fixed, and we will ensure that it's up to the city standards, or it meets or exceeds the city standards.
Okay. All right. Well, it looks like we are winding things down at the moment, but we are going to go ahead and just keep on going. Rusty, no, I know you may have said this earlier, but can you tell us more about why the project was recommended?
The project was recommended because the right-of-way became available, and there used to be apartments there, and they had flooded every time the water came out of banks. And after Harvey, they decided that they didn't want to rebuild to the current standards that would have required them to, and they put the property up for sale. And we, at the time, moved fairly quickly to purchase the property and have the plan for a future project. And it's just 5 years later, and we're having the project. So that's kind of how any detention in this area is helpful. It's the water comes out of banks during a 100-year event or greater, and having somewhere for that water to go is a good thing. So it'll help a lot in the smaller events, like a 50-year, 60-year event. It'll help, and it will fill up. I mean, you'll see it fill up when the rain comes down.
Thanks, Rusty. Our next question is for Melissa. Melissa, will the contractor keep the streets clean during construction?
Yeah, our contractors are required to follow stormwater pollution prevention best practices to keep the sites clean. You might see them out there using sweeper trucks, also using water to try and control dust. They'll also use silt fence. There can always be issues, though, with just how dry it is. If you do notice streets becoming dirty, let us know, and we will coordinate with the contractor. But they are required to keep the streets clean.
Thank you so much, Melissa. And just one last thing, just to round things out before we end for the evening. Melissa, can you go ahead and reiterate the goal of this project for everybody still in attendance?
Sure. So this project is going to reduce the impact of flooding in the lower portions of the Brays Bayou watershed by constructing a stormwater detention basin, actually two of them in the Meyergrove area where 610 crosses Brays Bayou. And these basins will temporarily store stormwater during heavy rain events until the water can drain into Brays Bayou.
All right. Thanks, Melissa. And with that, I would like to share one final reminder that the comment period associated with this meeting runs through August 31st, 2023. But we are always looking for your input and engagement. We also encourage everyone to get flood insurance as flood season, as we all know, in Harris County runs year-round. Thank you all again for joining us this evening and providing your input on this project. We look forward to continuing to share updates with you as our work moves forward. Stay safe and have a good evening.